Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're going deep on the Merle Cane Corso.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too. I saw someone post about them online and I was like, ooh, what's that?
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Right. Those coats are amazing. So I found this awesome podcast episode that just breaks down everything we need to know about them.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll use that as our source today.
Love it.
Let's dive in. First of all, that Merle coat, it's just so striking, like little splashes of color, different shapes.
It's a really cool pattern for sure, like blotches of fur, but on a lighter background of the same color. Like, you see a black Merle, it'll be black blotches on gray, basically.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous. But it's interesting because the episode talked about how this beautiful coat actually comes from a gene mutation.
Right, the SLV gene.
Uh-huh.
It's a mutation that leads to all kinds of variations in coat color.
Okay, and are there any other implications of this mutation? Like, does it affect anything else?
Yeah, so this is where it gets kind of tricky. The Merle gene can actually be linked to some health problems.
Oh, no. Like what?
Well, mostly issues with the senses, like hearing and vision.
Really?
Yeah.
So a Merle Cane Corso could be deaf?
Yeah, potentially. It can be one ear or both.
Wow.
And they could also have vision problems. Sometimes they have this condition called microphthalmia.
Microphthalmia.
Microphthalmia. Okay, I'm not even going to try and say that.
That's fair. Haha. But basically, their eyes can be underdeveloped and small, and sometimes they don't even function properly.
So they might not even be able to see.
Sadly, yeah, in some cases.
That's awful. It's just a reminder that dog breeding is complicated. There's so much more to it than just how a dog looks.
Absolutely. It's a huge responsibility, especially when you're dealing with genes that can impact health like this.
Right. So what can breeders do to avoid these issues?
Well, DNA testing is key.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It lets breeders see if a dog carries the Merle gene. That way they can avoid breeding two Merles together. Oh, so that's why you shouldn't breed two Merles.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about minimizing the risk of those health problems. Responsible breeding is so important.
Got it. So we've talked about the Merle coat, the genetics, the health concerns. Now, what about their temperament?
Right.
Are Merle Cane Corsos different from other Cane Corsos personality-wise?
At their core, they're very similar. Loyal, protective, excellent guard dogs.
Right. Cane Corsos in general are known for being good guard dogs.
Yeah, very much so.
So are the Merles just as protective?
Oh, yeah. They're intelligent, confident dogs. They can learn a lot, but like a lot of smart dogs, they can also be a bit, stubborn.
Haha, a little headstrong.
Exactly. And that's especially true if they haven't been trained and socialized properly when they're young.
So it's even more important to socialize Merle Cane Corsos.
Yeah, you could say that. Early training is super important for any dog.
Right, of course.
But with Merle Cane Corsos, it's especially crucial. With those protective instincts and the potential for sensory issues, they really need those positive experiences early on.
To make sure they interact safely with people and other animals?
Precisely. Think of it like, raising a child.
Oh, yeah.
You need to be consistent and provide guidance to help them grow up well-adjusted. It's very similar with dogs, especially a breed like this.
So basically, early socialization and training are key for all dogs, but especially for a Merle Cane Corso.
I'd say that's a great takeaway.
Okay, good. So anything else from the episode that stood out to you?
I'd say the emphasis on proactive health management was really important. Knowing the risks lets owners be more prepared.
Like knowing what to look for and catching things early.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, before we get into the nitty-gritty of responsible ownership, I want to hear from you listeners. What are your thoughts so far? The Merle coat, the genetics, the training, what's resonating with you?
It's amazing how much we're learning about canine genetics these days.
Right, it's really changing how we think about dog breeding.
Yeah, it's not just about looks anymore. It's about health and well-being, too.
Absolutely, and that's especially true for a breed like the Merle Cane Corso, where genetics play such a big role in those potential health issues.
You hit the nail on the head. It's a big responsibility.
Speaking of responsibility, the podcast episode really stressed the importance of being a responsible owner for a Merle Cane Corso. What were some of those key points? What do potential owners absolutely need to know?
I think the biggest thing is to be informed. Really understand the breed, their needs, the potential health challenges.
So not just falling in love with the look of them.
Right. You got to be prepared for the whole package, financially, emotionally, all of it.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
It is. It's more than just, food and walks. You got to think about proactive healthcare, vet checkups, being extra careful about their hearing and vision.
And being flexible too, right? Like if health issues do come up.
Exactly. You got to be ready to adapt their care and training.
So it's like a constant learning process.
It is, but it's also super rewarding. These dogs are known for being incredibly loyal to their families.
Yeah, and they make amazing companions.
They do. But remember, we talked about those protective instincts. Those need to be managed carefully.
Through training and socialization, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to find that balance between nurturing their natural protectiveness and making sure they're well-behaved around others.
So consistent training is key.
Super key. Clear communication, too. They do best with owners who are confident and experienced. Someone who can provide firm but loving guidance.
It sounds like it takes a special kind of owner to handle a Merle Cane Corso.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's not just about the aesthetics. It's about understanding and embracing everything that comes with this breed.
The good and the bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Owning a dog is a privilege, and with that comes responsibility. You got to make sure you're doing right by them.
So if someone's seriously thinking about getting a Merle Cane Corso, what would be your top 3 pieces of advice? What should they prioritize?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me see. First of all, do your research. And I mean really dig deep. Don't just skim the surface.
Yeah, go beyond just those pretty pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to breeders, talk to owners, talk to vets who know the breed. Get the full picture.
Knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to dogs.
100%. Okay, my second piece of advice would be honest with yourself. About your lifestyle, your experience level. This is a big, intelligent, sometimes stubborn breed. You got to be ready for that.
It's about making sure it's the right fit for everyone involved.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Okay, and lastly, never compromise on ethical breeding practices.
Yeah, finding a good breeder is so important.
It is. Ask about genetic testing, health clearances, their socialization practices. A responsible breeder will be happy to answer those questions.
They should be a partner in this process, not just someone selling you a dog.
Exactly. Choosing the right breeder can make all the difference in the world.
It really can set the stage for a successful relationship with your Merle Cane Corso.
Okay, before we jump into the final part of this deep dive, I have one more question. It's amazing to think we started with just a picture of a dog online, and now we've gone through all this. The coat, the genetics behind it, the potential problems, even training.
Yeah, we really covered it all, huh?
We did.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned so much about these Merle Cane Corsos.
Me too. And it's funny, going through all this, it really highlights how everything's connected.
Connected.
Yeah, like you can't just think about the Merle Cane Corso's looks. You have to consider the genetics, the breeding, the temperament, the owner's responsibility. It all plays a part.
You're right. It's a whole picture, not just like those beautiful markings.
Exactly. And it reminds us that even with those challenges we talked about, these dogs are truly something special,
They are. But as we've learned, they're not for everyone.
Nope, not at all. Owning a Merle Cane Corso is a big decision. It takes a lot of thought, a lot of preparation, and a deep understanding of what this breed needs. So before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. If you are considering bringing a Merle Cane Corso into your life, what would be your top 3 priorities? What would you focus on to make sure they're happy and healthy?
That's a really good question to ask yourself.
Yeah.
It gets right to the heart of what it means to be a responsible dog owner.
And remember, the more you know, the better. Keep learning about this breed. Talk to experts, and then you can make the best choice for you and your future furry friend.
Couldn't agree more. There are so many resources out there, breeders, trainers, vets. They can all help you along the way.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of the Merle Cane Corso. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed learning about this unique and beautiful breed. And until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep on loving those dogs.